this year, if you...
Pink flamingo.
What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Mel, and welcome back to Mel Got Game, where I bring you top plays, top sports news, and breakdowns of the previous week. So if that interests you, please like, comment, and subscribe. And without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. So, the Lakers, the Los Angeles Lakers, the team who was the most hyped team at the start of the 2021-2022 season. The team who traded for the triple-double king and former MVP Russell Westbrook to make a big three with LeBron James and AD. The team that signed 10 times NBA All-Star and one of the best shooters in NBA history, Carmelo Anthony. A team that we all thought was going to be one of the best teams in the NBA. And if you sit up here right now and tell me you didn't, you're lying. A team that we had so many high expectations for is now eliminated from the playoffs. So what went wrong? And I feel like the question, what went wrong for the Lakers, is kind of like a broad scope, considering there was a lot of stuff that went wrong for the Lakers this season. I mean, you had defense, you had turnovers, you had injuries. Yeah, I'm looking at you, Anthony Davis. So I feel like it's really hard to kind of pinpoint the one thing that kind of led to the Lakers' failures. It was kind of a combination of a lot of stuff. But I feel like the most important and probably the most noticeable thing that just wasn't clicking was the team's team chemistry. And if you watch the Lakers game this season, you honestly can see what I'm talking about. I mean, it really was like nobody on the field was on the same page out there. And I mean, honestly, if this was like 2K, like a video game or something, I feel like the entire Lakers roster would have D-minuses as their teammate grade. Everybody would be on the verge of getting graded out the game. And I honestly think the team chemistry issues for the Lakers date back to the Lakers preseason when they went 0-6. And typically in the NBA, when a team has a really bad preseason and they're not having success before the season, they're not going to have a good regular season after that. And honestly, if the Lakers preseason told us anything, honestly, I think it was just foreshadowing their eventual failures in the regular season. And this seemed like the root of Russell Westbrook's accountability issues that he's had over the course of the season. Dating back to preseason, he was getting criticized for all the turnovers he was throwing in preseason. And then he would go in the media press conferences, they ask him about it. He'd be like, I ain't worried about that. It's just preseason. I'm like, yeah, maybe you should be worried about that. And I'm definitely not one for Russell Westbrook slander. I love Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook is one of my favorite players, and he has been for a while now. I've gotten in so many debates, arguments with my friends simply over defending Russell Westbrook. But I feel like at some point, criticism is definitely warranted. Russell Westbrook has not been playing like the Westbrook we know this season. And I feel like deep down he knows that, but I feel like he just has too much pride that he doesn't want to go on the media on a national stage and be like, yeah, I messed up. You know what I'm saying? I need to be better. And that's where the accountability issue is for Russell Westbrook. And for Westbrook, I think he definitely had a confidence issue this season. I mean, when you're putting up 20 shots and you're only seeing like 5 or 6 of them go down, that's something that can definitely play on your confidence and your psyche. And for Westbrook, I don't think it's a question of whether he can play at a high level again or if he can get back to the level that he used to play at, because not too long ago, Russell Westbrook definitely was top 5 point guard in the league, like 2 years ago. And I don't know if the Lakers plan to run it back with Russell Westbrook. I don't know if they plan to bring him back, but it's something that he's going to definitely have to work on for this offseason, getting his confidence back, getting his shots up, making sure that he's getting more efficient, because I fear that if he doesn't do that, this upcoming season could be something to where he falls into more of a role player role with whatever team he ends up with and not the star player. And for Russell Westbrook being the type of player that he is a facilitator. He facilitates the offense. He has to have the ball in his hands. So I'm not even sure what a role-playing Russell Westbrook would even look like, or would he even have a place in today's NBA? And that kind of brings us into the next thing that went wrong with the Lakers, which was Anthony Davis being out a lot of the season, which forced Russell Westbrook and LeBron James to carry a lot of the scoring load. And I'm not sure if Anthony Davis playing a lot of the season would have made that much of a difference. I definitely think they probably would at least be in the play-in tournament, at least if Anthony Davis was healthy, he was playing a lot. But I'm not sure if it would have made a difference as to how good they would have been. And I feel like we're honestly not even sure what a Lakers roster or a Lakers team would even look like with a healthy Anthony Davis. Because, I mean, he hasn't really played consistently since they won the NBA Finals back in 2020. And if you look at this season, when they brought Russell Westbrook in, they're thinking, okay, we're going to have LeBron James, Russell Westbrook, and Anthony Davis all on the court at the same time. And with Anthony Davis being injured, that didn't happen a lot of the time. And I feel like when the Lakers realized that they weren't going to have their quote unquote big three out there on the court for a majority of the season, that changed a lot in terms of, lineups that they needed to run, how they were going to approach the game, their preparations, personnel that they were going to run. Little stuff like that really changes a lot for a team, and it overall contributes to team success. And if the Lakers are trying to scramble mid-season because they're not going to have one of their star players out there that they had planned to have for a majority of the season, that can take away a lot from a team winning games. And it definitely affects how you play in game as well, because when you have LeBron James, your best player on the court, sacrificing himself on offense and carrying most of the scoring load, he's not going to be able to contribute much on the defensive end because he's gassed from trying to score on offense. And we know for the Lakers, defense was a big issue this year. In terms of stats, they were 23rd ranked defense in the NBA, allowing 112.8 points a game. And the stigma that they had a bunch of old guys that weren't really able to get up and down the court like they used to, it pretty much came true. And when you're playing teams like Phoenix, Memphis, Golden State, Dallas, Utah, Denver, I mean, the entire West is stacked. And when you're playing these teams, you need to bring some defense, because these teams, they're gonna score. And God forbid you get into a shootout with one of these teams, it's not finna end well for you. And that's pretty much what happened a lot of the time with the Lakers. A lot of the games the Lakers played, the Lakers seemed to be sticking with them for majority of the game. First quarter, second quarter, maybe a little bit of the third quarter. But then towards the end of the game, it just seemed like they were so gassed trying to stop these guys on the defensive end. And that's when the other team started to pull away. And once that team started to pull away, I mean, there really wasn't much the Lakers could do. And I feel like we did cover a lot about why the Lakers were not successful this season. But ultimately, what was the deciding factor? What is the biggest contributor as to why the Lakers were not able to make the playoffs again for the 2022 season? And honestly, personally, I think it was the age of the Lakers roster. And when I say age, I'm not necessarily talking about their age was the reason that they weren't able to get it done. Their age was the reason that they weren't able to make the playoffs. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is that they lack youth. They lack a young player who has a lot of fire in them. They don't get tired. They don't get gassed. They can come in and create a spark. They lack an Anthony Edwards, a Miles Bridges, a DeJounte Murray, or a Tyler Herro. They lack one of those type of players. And I feel like with the NBA getting so young now, so many young players are just dominating. They're running the league. They're just taking over the show now. Every team needs that young player to provide that energy for the team and that spark that every team needs. And for the Lakers, obviously, when I say age, I'm not talking about LeBron James. LeBron James is 37 years old, still playing like he's 27 years old. He's still playing like an MVP type player, still second in scoring. He's not leading the league in scoring anymore. Joel Embiid is leading with 30.4. Now LeBron James has 30.3. Still though, LeBron James, one of the best players in the league. And I feel like for me, I can only help but wonder what it would look like for LeBron to play with one of our young, talented NBA stars today. Like imagine him playing with a Jaylen Brown or De'Aaron Fox or like an Anthony Edwards, somebody that provides that energy, that spark that just comes in and it's like, yo, who is this guy? And I feel like at this point in LeBron's career, whatever team he's on, a LeBron team needs that young spark at this point in his career. And like I've expressed, I don't think nothing's wrong with having an older roster. I definitely still think you can get it done with quote unquote older players in the NBA today. But again, it's all about execution. It's all about how you're going to use these players. What personnel packages are you going to put in? What role are these players going to play? And I feel like for the Lakers, they just fell short on the execution part, but it definitely could still be done. And I don't know if the Lakers plan on keeping the roster together. I know there's reports of head coach Frank Vogel parting ways with the team after the season is done. Russell Westbrook has reported that he wants to run it back with the team for the next season, but there are going to be some offseason moves for the Lakers moving forward. But if they do decide to keep majority of the roster together for this next season, they cannot, and I repeat, they cannot try to go about it the same way they did for this season. It all comes down to execution. And with LeBron James' player arc looking a lot like Tom Brady's, I think anything is possible, honestly, for the Lakers. But hey guys, that's just what I think. That's my opinion. I would love to hear what you guys think down below in the comments. If you guys think the Lakers should make any moves, and if they should make some moves, what moves should the Lakers make? But that's all the time I have for in today's video. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed today's video. As always, it's your boy Mel, wishing you a happy, safe, and great weekend. I will see you next week on Mel Got Game, and I'm out. Peace.